So I want to talk about something just for a few minutes. I've been thinking for a little while that a lot of people that we see are brown or called black or whatever, you want to describe them as, they are not the real, I'll say it like this. They're counterfeit spirits. You just can't have a group of people, I don't care how much slavery they've been through, as if everything that was told to us in history books is true. I mean, I'm not going to copy off what Dan Calloway says, but you're not going to have a group of people that's been around millions of years, even before they had come in human form. And you get a few hundred years or whatever, even a few thousand years of something. And that's enough to just completely have you like this. Nobody, let me tell you something. People, whoever they want to call a white man, they want to complain about the white man or whatever. Their technology ain't that damn great. They're not, it's not advanced enough. And by the way, the white man is not the first to came up with technology. He's not the first to start it. Some of the biggest mad scientists were, the brown men. Okay, so we know that. So it didn't start with the white man anyway. Now that technology started with the black man, okay? But the point is, ain't no technology, I wouldn't think is that great enough to completely wipe the conscience of beings that's freaking advanced. I mean, when you talk about what people used to be, which they didn't look like brown people millions and billions of years ago, which, I mean, what would the time have looked like around that period anyway? It wouldn't even be this kind of time anyway. I don't even think they were on time. And they don't look like humans. This is a human avatar body we have. That's not what people look like who existed way before the holographic world, like some of us existed way before the holographic world. We didn't look like no doggone like this avatar we have here. People were in a much more advanced form, way more advanced than any technology that's been invented right now. So ain't no way. But let me get to the point of what I'm saying. How I also come to this conclusion. Number one, it's like they clones. Something is not right. But that's already been said in a few lectures by some of the people in the early 2000s and late 90s. A couple of people said that a lot of brown people are clones and a lot of Africans too. But I don't get on Africans because I'm not into that. I'm not into the African culture a whole lot to have enough to say about them. Okay? But I do know, I've heard in the spiritual realm that, I never heard anybody say it out loud, but I heard in the spiritual realm, overheard the conversation. Let's clone the Africans, okay? But the reason why I say this is because I notice brown people. I notice there's more so-called white people that seems to talk about this being a false matrix more than I see brown people do. Brown people, for some reason, are focusing on Egypt and Kemet, and that's mostly brown men. But I'm just saying, women go along with it because they were part of it too. A lot of women are Kemetian women, Egyptian. A lot of those brown women come from that time too, and some Caucasian women. Okay, so so I just noticed they want to focus when they want to talk about being advanced and getting back to who you were. They can't seem to go beyond Kemet, Egypt. They can't seem to go beyond that. Why is it that a whole group of people in the United States of America cannot seem to go beyond that? Okay? But I listen to other Caucasian people. I've seen maybe a couple of people talk about how this is a false matrix. There is a true matrix with the organic consciousness. Right now, we're in a false consciousness where most of us are led by our ego. So we think our ego, we think we are going to work every day, how we were raised and all this stuff. We think that we are the ego. We identify with our pain, we identify with our traumas, we identify with thoughts, every thought that comes through that we think we're thinking, even though our thoughts are not our own. You know that God of that Bible, the God of the false matrix, You know, didn't he say in the Bible, your thoughts are not your own? He sure was right, because your thoughts are not your own. You know, it's a book called The Urantia, Urantia. Now, I mean, it could be questionable if everything is in there true. Is it in there is true? But what I'll say is, it's been confirmed that quite a bit in there is true. Maybe not everything is accurate, but quite a bit. When you're talking about reading somebody's book and what came from other people, you better question if 100% of anything is true. Really, you got to really use your discernment on what you should be taking in and what you shouldn't be taking in. Because anything that's in a text is coming from somebody else and somebody else's research, is questionable, because you have to get it for you. It has to come through for you. You have to discern it. Okay, but in the Urantia, they explains those thoughts. Okay, and the creation of this false matrix and the creation of that Father God, which is not a real. It's not real. It was created. That's the Father God who was created. Now, I know in the Old Testament, you know, you have the Elohim, which is, you know, multiple gods. That's like plural. That's many gods, okay? And, you know, when you're talking about gods can mean a ruler. So, you know, in many ways, Vladimir Putin could be a god, right? So when you talk about gods in that case, too, you could be talking about rulers. They could have physical bodies. But anyway, my point is, in the Bible, you know, it says your thoughts are not your own. So, but in this false matrix, we have identified with the ego. We think all these thoughts of us. We thinking all these thoughts, and we do everything possible to keep these thoughts. Oh, why do I think that? I feel so bad. Why do you feel bad? Your thoughts are not your own. And that's the thing with karma. A lot of things get caught in the algorithm. What you have is called an algorithm. And sometimes these things, experiences, patterns, they get caught in the algorithm, and every so now and then they come back around again, okay? That's, to me, that's like the karmic cycle. That's what's creating that cycle again until you go through what's called, you change up a pattern of your life, or go through what's called an ego death. You just change up a pattern of what you used to do, and you just change lanes and go another route, so you can like kind of get off that particular algorithm right there. You know what I mean? So basically, I'm going to get back to brown people. Most brown people in the brown American community, I don't see them where they are really saying that this is a false matrix. Most of them keep telling you to focus on Egypt, Kemet, and when they talk about Africa, but a lot of them not talking about Africa like they used to ever since Dane Calloway, really. You know, now a lot of people get into the indigenous. And what media does is media gets a hold of that. Now that Dane Calloway is becoming pretty popular, now media is getting a hold of it. And then you get these big stars, rappers and basketball players or whoever, or maybe actors, whoever, to come out and start talking about their indigenous. And so now you get all these people that's not really there for the brown people like Dane Calloway is and his wife, right? And so you get these big stars that, I'm going to say it, they are affiliated with Freemasons, the Freemason organization, right? So I might as well say it, because I mean it's not like it's something that's hidden. So I might as well go on and say what it is. Okay, these rappers or whoever, these entertainers are affiliated with the Freemasons. So now media have them coming out because the people like Dane Calloway, and they help if it's with him and the work of him and his wife. Starting to get popular. Okay, they're starting to get real popular. Okay, he's talking to a lot of celebrities. And now they gotta, let's get these guys to come out, these big stars to come out talking about, we indigenous. As if they really care about brown people. They are affiliated with Freemasons. The two don't go hand in hand. You can't. It's not even that they don't care, like they don't have a heart. The point is they can't. That's the point. They can't. I don't care about their personal life and how they personally feel. They can't do it. Affiliated with that organization. Okay, their loyalty has to lie with whatever deals they made with that organization. That's just it. Okay? So yeah, I don't have much to say about that, but my main thing what I was talking about is that I don't think the brown people that we're seeing in the United States of America, I don't think they are the original. I think they're counterfeit spirits. I don't understand why they are so stuck on. You have so many brown people that could be souls that have been around way before the holographic world. See, Egypt. Let me tell you about Egypt and Kemet. They are all a part of the false matrix. Okay, so the false matrix, what it is somebody wanted being wanted to create a false matrix to separate themselves from the mother. That's what they want to do. They want to separate themselves from the mother. The organic matrix was you had the great mother. So they wanted to separate from the organic matrix and to create this father God, to leave out to kind of get rid of the feminine principle, to get rid of the mother. And they created what is called false matrix. And I feel like what I was going to say, it really has to do with programming a lot of people in what to believe. When people get back in alignment with the truth, and then you get back into the organic matrix. So it's more about aligning with your highest truth than like going to some different location. It's just about aligning in the highest truth and rising back up in that frequency, in that particular type of frequency, you know. But a lot of people went into a false matrix. And so that's why that's why everything is in reverse now. That's the false matrix for you. And Egypt and Kemet and all that stuff, you know, is a part of that false matrix. It's a part of that false matrix. Because they don't want to really, you know, they don't want to. It was after the overturning of matriarchy, you know. So and in Egypt. In Egypt, I was never fond of Egypt anyway, because for me, Egypt, it was a huge hatred of the feminine. It was a hatred of women, and it was even legal to rape women and abuse women. It was legal, like you see in like many Middle East nations now. It's legal to rape women and beat women and just punish them because they were abused, instead of abusing the men that's doing it, right? So that's what Egypt is. That's how Egypt is. So Egypt is a product of the false matrix. I believe Kemet is too. And sometimes I wonder if Atlantis is, because they don't want to talk about Lemuria. They don't want to talk about Lemuria, that could have been more matriarchal. They want to concentrate on Atlantis. So I'm really thinking that a lot of the brown people that we see are counterfeit. They're counterfeit. They're products of this false matrix. For some reason, they can't seem to connect to anything beyond Atlantis, beyond Kemet, beyond Egypt. They're not connecting to anything beyond that. So and then I listen to other people. They seem to be more connected to a higher source, like a higher truth than what I see brown people, like even the brown people that's supposed to be so awake, and the ones that's getting on YouTube that have so much knowledge. Okay, talk about food and talking about all this stuff and all this different knowledge they have, and they just don't seem to really talk about the fact that you're in a false matrix. They seem to still be hooked on Egypt, Kemet, Atlantis, or whatever, but they will not touch Lemuria. Okay? And so, but I also believe that because the community has kind of been one-sided, okay? So you really haven't had both sides of the story. You only really had his story and not really her story. So the community has been one-sided, and it's really more upside down than any community on the planet. Okay? Because the only thing that a lot of brown people in the United States are learning that's really into that doggone conscious community, conscious stuff or whatever. And when I say conscious community, I'm not necessarily just talking about, Sonetta and Young Pharaoh and whoever's involved in it. I'm not talking about like a few people. I'm just talking about people in general, brown people in general, that like to put out information, that like to put out some kind of knowledge. So I just mean in general. They don't seem, they keep missing a major point that I see Caucasians seem to touch on. So it makes me wonder, are Caucasians, are they the real black people? And some of the black people, are they the white people? You know, why do I hear more white people that seem that they can talk about that? Why does it seem like white people can know this and they can remember this, but it seems like the brown people ain't getting it? That lets me know that a lot of brown people that we see, I think they're counterfeits. I think a lot of them are white. Now I think a lot of white people are black. It seems like it's some white people that seem to be a little bit more, I almost want to say higher in vibration. And when I say high in vibration, it's almost like when it comes to just really just knowledge. How about those Pleiadians too? I know a lot of people talk about them Pleiadians. You know, I heard those Pleiadians. Those Pleiadians, a lot of them were brown skin. You know. It just makes me wonder. Since we learn everything in reverse, I think a lot of white people are black. Or black or brown or whatever we want to call them. But the brown people that we see right now, especially United States of America, I don't think they're real. I think they are false. But anyway, I'll talk later.